All right. Just got myself some juice here. Welcome back to another week. As you can see, I have the jointer set up, and I've experimented very briefly on a couple of these boards. I'm having a couple of issues, but I think that they'll work themselves out once we get to the other steps. I assume they'll be that way. I don't know why I brought this over. But anyway, and then I went and picked up some Titebond 3 wood glue because I heard that that's just the best wood glue. I still have the other stuff, but this stuff is specifically waterproof and better for outdoor usage is from my research. And so I'm going to use that for this project. The other wood glues that I have, I'm going to probably use for more indoor-y projects and that kind of stuff until they're gone, and then we'll probably just stick with this, depending on which one I like the best. But by the sounds of it, it's going to be this one. So anyway, like I said at the end of the last video, I had cut these all to 36 inches, and then I was going to use a jointer to flatten two sides of each board. Then we'll whip out the planer and then plane the one side, and then we'll grab the table saw and we'll do the last side. The biggest problem that I can see me having is getting everything to the same size and the same thickness. The same thickness isn't as important to me as like width, but we will see. And then we got to cut angles. But so then we do a glue up. So these two I've experimented with. So this side I've jointed, and then this end I've jointed, and then same with this guy. This one's obviously a lot better than this one, and I think this is going to be our top board because it just needs to be a single guy. And you can see here that it's wedge shaped, and I think the planer will fix that for me because this side seems flat enough for what I'm looking for, and then this side is very bowed. So I think the planer will fix that for us, I assume, and so we're gonna go with the assumption that will work. But anyway, we're going to then glue them together to make panels, just two each, right? And then we'll have 3 panels and 1 extra board, which will be this one. And then this one will sit on top, and it will make sort of a triangular box, which means I have to cut angles into these panels. And I'm 90% sure that it's a 75 or 15 degree angle because they have to be opposites for either end, which we'll try to do on either the table saw, or we'll just use the hand saw. But yeah, I'm going to try to use the table saw. And now before we get into anything specific, we're going to address one of the things that is going to have a problem for a lot of people while I'm working. Now, I want everybody to be fully aware that I do try to take safety as seriously as possible while also being comfortable doing so. One of the things that I do is I wear gloves for everything. I just have a very large issue with the feelings of things. And if I'm touching something that is giving me the feeling that I'm uncomfortable, it doesn't feel right to me, which is most things in the world, I generally prefer to wear gloves. And I understand that generally when we're working with tools that rotate, or rotary tools or spinning tools or any of that kind of stuff, gloves are generally frowned upon. So the precautions that I'm taking is to never be within 6 inches of a blade, but also wearing a tight-fitting glove. I don't wear anything that has loose ends, loose straps, loose nothing. And I'll use push sticks and push blocks anywhere necessary. 100% of the time. I'll try to never, ever be close to anything. But as things progress in this shop, I'm going to try to take my gloves off more often to try to get used to the feel of things I don't like. But that's just something that I'm going to have to fight through on my own. And I hope that stays off some of the issues that people have. I understand that it's not the safest practice in the world, but it is also, for me, if I get too uncomfortable handling wood, it might be something that stops me from doing this hobby altogether. So I want to make sure that I'm taking every chance that I can get to make it good. Anyway, let's get to jointing and planing, and we'll see at the glue up, I guess. Okay, so yeah, unfortunately that took a bit of work, and it's still not great. Some of them I can't seem to get flat. It's not the end of the world by any means, but we're going to keep moving on. This doesn't have to be a perfect thing. It's just learning to use this equipment is what I'm trying to do my best. Unfortunately, we had a casualty. This guy just wasn't strong enough. I should have known by how all chewed up this side of the board was, but the first couple passes through the planer, it just gave out on us. So we're gonna cut another board at length and do that one, and then we'll move on. So let's give this a shot. Okay, so obviously we have issues. This guy got pretty flat, which is pretty good. Obviously the bow was right here, so we can fix that up somehow other time. But it's still a little, it's not perfect. It's not perfect, but I'm afraid that I'm going to make these boards like paper thin if I keep going. So I know that they're pallet boards, so I'm not expecting greatness, but we're learning here. So let's just, we'll keep it going. We'll get the planer out, and then we'll plane these guys up. My thought process was I had a thought process that maybe, let me unplug this. I do the glue up first, and then do the planing after. So then I can plane both of them at the same time. But I think getting them planed first is going to be the best way to do it. And then if we need to, we can do a small pass through the planer after they're glued up. Again, I don't know exactly what I'm doing here, but hopefully it's good enough. All right. Let's get this all sorted, and we'll get the planer up here. All right. So we obviously have some tear out on some of these boards, and it's just because I don't know which way the grain's going half the time until it's after, but I can sand that out, which is fine. And depending on which one is facing out is what matters, like what part of the board is facing out, which side of the board is facing in, right? And then so they're much flatter on the plane side now, so that's good. So the next thing is to grab the table saw and then try to just rip the edges off of these. Now, I don't know the best way to do that because the table saw terrifies me. I think it's the big side goes on the fence side, right? Yeah. So let's put this away and we'll figure it out. All right, anyway, so I think the best action is when we're ripping that we bring the fence not off of the track, but just in line enough with the blade. And the problem is that this fence wiggles on the back end, but I think I can square that up regardless. So if I lined it up at the 3-inch mark, then no, I want more than 3 inches because I need to still cut some stuff. If we do 3 1/8 there, that might be too much. Let's see. Okay. So let's see here if that, oh, see if I can reach this. Seems about right. Yeah, seems good. So anyway, so now we rip the board along the plane here with all the safeties in line. I think we have to raise it up actually a bit because I don't think. All right, beautiful. Never done this before, so bear with me. Let's go though. Well, that went smoother than I thought. Oh my God, did I get covered in sawdust here? I forgot to lock the wheels of the... I forgot to lock the wheels of the table saw, but that's trial and error and learn from your mistakes kind of situation, which is great. But I mean, I was pushing into something that was already sturdy and laid down, so I didn't worry about it too much. I had a little bit of a jam at one point in time, and I pushed the stop button and I turned it all off, but I forgot to unplug it before I unjammed it. So that was another mistake that I made. I should have turned it off. But yeah, I'm very sawdusty, which I didn't expect as much because I put the extraction on, but I mean, it is a blade that's mostly up. I'm wondering if the blade was lower in the table, if most of the dust would have gone under the table. But either way, a successful first attempt. Like, you can obviously tell some of these boards definitely aren't flat. They're wiggling on me, but I think they'll be just fine for what we're going with. Then we got a whole bunch of this stuff now to shim it up and stick in places that gaps and whatnot if we need to, because we're still going to push forward with this regardless of the problems. Because I really want to get one of these done, and then we're going to make a second identical one, and we'll do it the same process. But then some of the other jump fill she wants later done won't require as much of this prep. So yeah, so I think almost all of our boards should now be 3 1/8 all the way across, more or less. Some of these boards are going to be really hard to use. So this one's bigger, so we need to know that. Just barely. Oh, this is the top one. Yeah, I remember. Okay. I think. Yeah. Yes. Okay. They're not perfect, so we might have to do some more. Yeah, this is bigger. Yeah. They're a little wonky. I thought I got it there, but oh yeah, this is almost 3 1/4. And then this side is not. All right, so obviously we had an issue with figuring that part out. So we'll try our best to find the flat sides. Oh, this is the top. I don't know. Yeah, this one's definitely the top. And it's like perfect. It's really weak. Maybe I make both of these the bottom. Actually, see if I can get them lined up together in some fashion. Oh, that's a little. So we're going to try to find perfect matches for these guys. Oh. That's a little wobbly, but I almost feel like planing this side again. It's a little bulbous. Plane it a little bit thinner, and then those two can be the bottom. And then that almost works already. hang on. I have a feeling not having a clean work surface is a problem. Okay, let's get this guy out of the way. All right, let's try this again. Oh, that's going to be pretty close. Probably get that done. Okay. That's bottom panel. One of the sides. Doesn't look terrible. It's a little. Oh, okay, that's way better. It's another side, I guess. One of the things I want to do is experiment with how to do each one of these glue ups. And so I'm thinking one is just going to be just a straight glue up, which is probably going to be the bottom guys because they're going to be the hardest to match together because there's like live edge and stuff. So I think this would be the best. I mean, it's not the best candidate actually. Maybe this one's the best one for. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, one of them is going to be just straight glue, and it should be. I guess it should be the best candidate for straight glue, which will be these guys because they're the closest to just matching perfect between the boards. This is the second closest. And so this one will probably just, I have this, this guy I've been trying to find a way to use to begin with. This self-centering dowel jig. I don't know if it will work on boards this small, but I have also a big bag of dowels. So there are some itty bitty teeny tiny guys in there, and so we're going to try to use the smallest size we can and use this jig to figure that out. And then we have our pocket hole jig here that I think we'll use on the smaller boards down here, and hope I don't ruin them. I don't know the best way to do pocket holes. It comes with this special bit that has a smaller bit protruding out of the top of it there. And so I don't know if that's necessary or not, but I'm going to use it the way I have it set up because I did do a practice the other day, which I didn't show you guys. I just literally took 2 scrap boards from the pile over there, and then I used the jig, and then I put one of the holes went right through a knot, which is probably not ideal. And the other one split the board because I drove it in too hard. Again, not ideal, but it was something I wanted to try. And I've been going back and forth with it every time I get a chance to pick it up. You can obviously see it. There's some play in it. But that's, if the glue is there, then I think we'll be okay. So I think we're going to start with the pocket holes, move to the dowel, and then just straight the glue, and go from there. So if we move everything down, we can get to doing this. I think I want this board to have the holes, so we're going to do that. All right, that one worked. So we got the hole here and the pocket hole there, and I was afraid that you could see through. It's going, whereas the other ones, you can see that it worked, but it didn't go all the way through, and I think it needs to go all the way through, and so, but we're gonna try like this. I don't think I'm gonna be able to line up the whole jig again properly to fix the other two. I mean, I could just, let's just try this real quick. No, okay. No, that's just too much of a risk. Okay, so there we go. Oh, okay. Okay. Just a thin little bead. Oh, these are two different sizes. I've made so many mistakes this go around. It's fine. We'll leave it. We're going to leave this like this. This is our first time doing something like this, and we screwed it all up. So that's just, we'll put this over here, let it dry. That's our bottom board anyway. I wouldn't worry about it too much. We'll just keep moving on here. All right, so on to the next set, which is going to be dowels. Now, I don't think I've ever opened this doweling jig. And so we need to figure out so we have that. I don't know what those are. So I got that there. That should work. All right. Okay. Would you look at that? Some pretty nice looking holes. Awesome. All right, so this guy will slide in there, and then I'll line this up. What I want to do is maybe get something straight here. All right. So now this guy has its markings, and we'll try to line up with. I can't see anything in there though. not too bad. Not too bad at all. So let's get some glue on this stuff and get it clamped up. Okay. Let's get this together here. All right. We'll grab clamps here. There's some squeeze out there, and there's a bunch on the desk now. That will be that. So we'll leave that now for 45 minutes, and I'll take some of the squeeze out off. And then we'll grab this. Okay. Now, the two iffy ones for me have been done. So this one's just going to get glued straight like this and then clamped. Okay. This is just going to go all over the desk again, but that's fine. It's a workbench. It's not a keep clean bench. But we can clean it after. Okay. Well, it's quite the little disaster that we had during the glue up here. One of the things I was looking at was how much glue to use. I don't know what I'm doing here, but it's glue everywhere. The only thing is, like one of the things that the things I was seeing was there isn't too much. You can't use too much glue. Don't be afraid to use more glue, and all of that kind of jazz. But I feel like I've overdone it. So we'll have to just wait and see. And we'll see which one of these panels, oops, is correct. This little thing fell off here, so we're just going to leave it off. I have to get going, so I don't have time to wait to scrape the glue like I was going to. So we'll bring back all of our glues. So we got this guy, and then we got the first guy that we, the pocket holes. And so, looks like just 3 completely different ways of doing it. So here we go. So we got just the glue, we got the dowels and glue, and we got pocket holes and glue. And we're going to use all 3 regardless, but it'll be interesting to see what comes of these eventually. So we got our regular glue, we got our dowel and glue, and we got pocket holes and glue. Now, we're really going to try our best to use these. Obviously, we know that one of the pocket holes didn't work, and then it's kind of wobbly, but that's fine. The only thing we can't do with these ones is plane them in the planer after, because they have metal screws in them now. So that's fine. We'll figure out a way around that. This is the bottom panel anyway. So these are the two important ones, more important ones. So I got to get them as straight as possible, so when we do our angled cuts on them, that they come out the same size. But yeah, we can. We're going to leave these overnight, and then we're going to come back and take care of business, as they say, in the seeing if these worked out well. And if that's the case, then we'll try our best to assemble it all and get some paint drying on it, and then start the next one. It's a little bit longer of a task than I thought it was going to be, but it will only get shorter the more I do it. So we are going to do another one right after. If there's any tips or tricks or something I missed or something I was doing incorrectly, please let me know, and we'll catch you guys tomorrow when we take all the clamps off. This glue is a disaster. Okay. Well, it's been a day. I don't have much time to be in here today. So we'll see how this went. Maybe we'll get a little sanding done, but I don't think I'll be able to do very much with this. Today I ran out of time pretty well. Just things with work got in the way, so all right. I didn't know that this Titebond glue actually dries clear for the most part, so that's pretty cool. But I don't know how easy it will be to scrape off, so we might just sand it off. We'll do 120. Again, I don't care about the finish on this, because I think actually a rougher finish with the paint will be actually pretty nice. So let's just take a quick gander here. So yeah, that didn't. So no, these aren't straight, but are they straight enough is the real question. There we go. All right. So this one is just the straight glue board. It looks, there's a gap, there's a pocket here where the glue looks like it just dripped out. Yeah, there's a puddle here. So I don't know if you can see that. It seems weird to me that would happen, but so here, I haven't seen this in any of the other boards. Let's see here. Right there. There's an empty pocket of just where the glue was to not. I don't know if I'm going to do anything about that, but that's interesting. And then this knot here is just falling apart and falling out. So I'm going to potentially throw some glue in there just to keep it. I like the aesthetic of the knot sitting there. So we're going to figure out which side is the inside and outside. It looks, this one is the best one by far. And it's not because it being the glue up, I don't think. I think it's just because these are the two best boards we had to do this glue up with. It's really messy, obviously. It's got like a lot of white glue marks and then just the glue squeeze out everywhere. This is where we put the most glue. It looks like this will be the inside. So everything should be flipped around because this is the inside. So we're just going to sand all the outsides. But again, this is what it was supposed to do. This is what it's supposed to look like. So these go here, lined up like this. And then we take that one single board that we decided we were going to use for the top, and it attaches to the top, like so. You get the gist. I'm not a house guard or a hard house building guy. All right. So obviously some of this is still not the best. This one specifically, you could just see where the divide is, and obviously the boards chosen aren't ideal. I mean, it is pallet wood. You can't be too picky. But I probably did have better ones to go on. But this being the first box I'm going to build, I'm okay with it being piecemeal and mismatchy and all that kind of stuff. Again, it's just going to be all painted the same. So having a little bit of texture difference is fine by me. Again, I'm not going to do this side. And I'm thinking for what I'm going for, that 80 grit is fine. I don't think I need to. I need to step up anything. I'm not staining it. I'm not doing any of that kind of stuff. I'll clean it, prime it, paint it, and we'll move on with our life. The ends of the boxes, I don't know exactly what I'm going to do about those because obviously both ends are going to be open at this time. I'd like to close them off so there isn't any manner of critters making nests in there when it's being stored. I mean, the top's going to have holes in it anyway. So the top piece is going to have at least 4 larger holes in it to hold flora and fake flowers and whatnot. So I have this hole saw we're going to try out. And I'm just going to pick the biggest, probably, well, maybe not the biggest, but we'll do the 2-inch. There's 2 1/8, 1 1/4, 1 1/2, and 2 inches. We'll probably just do the 2 inches. And then remember, we want to build that handle for the center. So we're going to try to space them out pretty evenly, but again, that's not going to matter as much once the fake flora and whatnot's in there, just to give it some color for the horses to look at when they're jumping over the jumps. So this is the reason why I switched what the top board was going to be when we originally started the glue up, is strictly because I wanted a board that can handle us punching holes through and have a handle put on top of it to carry the box around. So that's why that was changed. I don't think I explained that before. Right now we're going to learn how to cut these 2 sides into with their angles. I'm going to bring over the table saw. We'll put all of our stuff on, and we'll figure it out from there. Yeah, pretty sure it's 15 degrees / 75 degrees for the cuts. And the table saw just does 15, obviously. So we'll just figure this out. I'm going to leave you there while we do this. This is the bottom. This is the top, and then these are the sides. Okay. All right. I feel like that's good. Like when I was feeding it through, I mean, I have some hiccups here because I wasn't consistent because I was worried about it, but I'll just sand that down. But I feel like it wasn't getting right to the edge of the board, but it looks like it was. I don't see any square spots or anything. All right, well, I have a problem with that one, I'm pretty sure. No, okay, I'm all right. I thought for sure it like missed a whole chunk of it. Just based on the way it felt going through. But I think you can't see the bottom of the saw blade, especially with the guard on. Okay. Move some of this stuff for you. So we have a triangular box. It works, I think, for what it wants to do, or what I want for it to do. So a couple of changes, like mid-build. First things first, I wanted to wait to put the top on, put the holes in it, and then put a handle on it. But then I realized I don't know when I'm going to get the forge up and ready to make the handle. So I figured I'd get it on now, just in case we hit the end of the month before I can get the handle on. I don't think we will. I think I'll get it this week, but either way. I was using the pin nailer to hold it while the glue was setting, and then I decided I wanted to throw some screws in as well, just to pull the boards together. It is definitely over-engineered, for sure. However, I think forgive me. I think me over-engineering it for the first one is better than just having something that falls apart later. There are obviously some things like, so I put 3 screws in every joint, except for the first one. This is the first one I did. I put 4 screws in it, and then I quickly realized, well, I made 5 holes, and I put 4 screws in, and I quickly realized, hey, you know what? I'm actually going to just fill that screw hole because it's going to bug me forever. Hang on. Didn't think it was going to bug me, but it's going to bug me. So there we go. Should hold it better together. A little bit of glue out, squeeze out there. Anyway, there we go. So, and then on the top here, I got too close to the edge for these ones. And I ended up splitting this board here. So I threw some glue in there, I put some pins in there, I clamped it, and then I put the screw back in it. And so we'll see how that goes. Okay, so we just, I said I wasn't going to cut triangles, and then I tried to cut triangles anyway because I hate myself. I'm not going to do all of them. Like, I'm not going to fill the whole thing at all. I'm just going to see how these hold up after we give it a little sand and a little paint. And sorry, I'm just making sure I'm not missing anything. We'll give it a little sand, a little paint, and then from there, I think. Well, I'll do the holes here first, I think. Awesome. Okay. Hole's done. Look at those. I don't know if you can see them. Hang on, I'll show you. Give me a second. Give me a second. Okay. Holes. All right, so we're gonna sand it up a bit, and oops. Yeah, sorry. So we're gonna sand this up a bit, and then prime it, and then we'll come back later for painting. So the boring part begins. So we'll catch you closer to the end of that boring part specifically. Okay, so then we'll take this, we're just going to take this guy and we're going to just set it off to the side here. And then I'll put the second coat of paint on it, just while it's on the floor over here. So I'm not picking it up and moving it every 20 minutes. Then I'm gonna have to get some actual shop rags instead of paper towel, but we'll just quickly wipe this off. Once I figure out how to properly glue stuff, then I'll fix the table because it's got glue and stuff all over it. I mean, I'll resand it down and finish it up. But I shouldn't do that until I'm aware of how I'm doing things. And I completely forgot while I was doing the glue up that I bought this big roll of of just cardboard paper, or just construction paper, specific craft paper, specifically so I could just roll it out when I'm doing stuff like this, because this stuff will sand off and chip off easy. So I don't know why I didn't use that. So we'll use that for the next glue up stage. But anyway, so we got these two, which is going to be one side, and then these two, which is going to be another side. Now these ones are arguably worse than the other two. So one side is going to be fantastically good looking, because these two boards are great looking. Little chips in the one board, but that is what it is. And then we got another two here for the bottom, which are going to be the worst ones. They're pretty gnarly. This one's chewed up pretty good, so hopefully it doesn't break on us like that last one did. Because I don't have another one, so I'd have to actually cut one into size. But this one I'm going to probably plane down to the thinnest board, and so it might snap on me. But these two are the bottoms, and they're definitely wonky as all heck. So if it better that way. But we'll make it work. We'll try. We'll do our best. That's just crazy warped. But I'm gonna see if we can fix it. And then we got a shorter one here that should measure. We should be able to get 36 inches out of. Yeah, just barely. And so we're gonna cut this guy first, and then use him as our template. We got the first board cut to size, so we're going to find the best parts of each board to cut off here. Usually it's kind of right in the center. Some of these boards are going to be kind of sketchy for building with, because they're just cracked all the way through. These boards weren't meant to build like boxes and things out of. That's not why I reclaimed the pallet wood originally. My original thought process here was to make my picture frames out of these, so it didn't matter how gnarly they were as much. Like, they couldn't be fully broken, but the gnarlier the better, so you get that good look, a good quote-unquote rustic look. However, things changed and I needed to build these boxes, and needed to build them sooner than later. And I still hadn't learned all the stuff I wanted to learn yet, so this is why we're using this to learn on. And the 6-foot box that we're going to build next. So the next project right after this, or tomorrow, like so in the next video, I have to build a garbage container to hold our garbage cans and garbage bags for the week, because the crows around here have gotten pretty smart about getting into our garbages, and so I'm going to build something better to keep the crows out. And so once the crows open a bag, then the dogs they're getting into the bag. So like it's a whole mess right now. So I'm gonna fix that this weekend for sure. And so I'm just gonna get some 2x4s. I don't know if I'm gonna film building it, but I should. But I'm just gonna get some 2x4s and some plyboard and some paneling, and just slap something together. And then probably gonna be like 2 feet by 4 feet or something like that. And it's probably gonna actually be about the size of this desk, actually, just maybe a little bit skinnier. So then I can just slap it out by the door, and then have something that's protected from the elements and the animals. So that's the next thing. And then we finish this guy, if we're not already done. And then she needs a 6-foot box as well, but it's going to be just a square box. It's not going to be the triangle mess that I'm making now. And then there was a third type of jump fill she wanted, but I have to ask her again what exactly she wanted. But I think I'm going to try to do a picture frame somewhere in between all that. So just stick around and things will be made. A propane tank is going to be coming this weekend. I'm going to just go and pick up probably just a 20-pounder for now because it's the cheapest option, just so we can get going on that side of things. Things are supposed to warm up significantly in the next week, so the heaters can go away again, and then I probably just use that table for the forge for now, so I'll do a lot of bending over, but I'm just warming up shoes, banging them straight, and then putting some bends in the ends to make handles. It's not rocket science. I'm pretty sure I won't have an issue doing it, so, but who knows? Anyway, let's get these boards cut up. All right, so there we go. Those are all cut to size. The top, the last guy we deal with, so he's over there. The first guys we're going to deal with are going to be the hardest ones to do. So we'll do it with these guys first because they're the thinnest and the most wonky. And so I think this time around, I'm going to just joint and flatten one side of each. And then the inside will be what I didn't flatten. But that's going to be hard with this guy. But we'll see. We'll see. This guy's just gnarly all the way down. I almost feel like I should just get a different guy. But we're going to see. If I can fix that, then I'm happy. And then this guy, we're just going to pick a side, joint to the one edge, and then flatten the one side. Let's joint the one side. So maybe we don't use the planer at all. And then put all the garbage on the inside of the box. And then I don't need to straighten up the other side because I'm going to knock off that 15-degree angle anyway. I realized that yesterday while I was cutting the 15-degree angles. Is why did I cut these boards to lengths in the first place if I'm just going to be knocking them off anyway? So let's get the jointer out and see what we got here. Okay, well, that took quite a bit longer than I thought. I was really trying to learn how to take care of warped boards and stuff. I don't know, one of these boards is particularly just crazy warped. I couldn't get the warp out entirely, but I got it good enough so the glue up won't be too affected, but as far as I know. And so I meant to stop halfway through and go in and put the paint on the top there, but I forgot. So I'm going to do that right now, and then we'll move this out of the way and then look at doing the glue up for these guys. Oh, awesome. Glue spreader. I'm only going to do glue up for this box. I liked all of the methods that we did last time. Some of these are too skinny for dowels. Pocket holes are just quite a setup. I want to see over time if this box with just the glue will last just as long as that box. And we have all summer and the rain and all that kind of stuff to see how good this stuff really is. So let's get the sander out. We'll sand the edge really quick, wipe it off, and then we'll glue it up. Okay, so this last week or two has been pretty crazy. So one thing you'll maybe notice, I don't know, but I didn't upload last week like I said it would, and this is all just one long 2-week video as opposed to just doing a weekly video. A couple ups and downs for me. I made the choice to leave my job last week, and so this is my first week without going to work as normal for the last 18 years. I'm not gonna. I haven't decided where I'm gonna end up just yet, but I'm going to figure that out sooner than later, obviously. And then it just so happens that on the second last night that I was at work, somebody vandalized my truck. So they drilled a hole in the gas tank and siphoned the gas out that way. So I've been without my truck for a week. It's fixed today as I'm telling you this, so I get to go and pick it up. But that was a setback, and then the job thing, and then just a whole bunch of nastiness happened. The truck thing happened on the day I was supposed to edit last week's video. And so when that happened, I decided, because my weekend was still pretty busy, I decided that I would just combine these 2 weeks into 1 week for the video. So I'm just going to kind of rush through the editing process tomorrow and get this out. But either way, we're very close to being done, these two guys. There's just a couple of things I'd like to take care of, and then I can move on. And then we're going to start, now that I'm going to have my truck back this afternoon, I'm going to go and pick up some of the supplies I need to do the garbage can holder for outside of the arena there. And then we're going to pick up a couple of 6 foot boards, I hope, in order to do the long box. So these are the short ones. These are the 2 3-foot short guys. I brought the flowers in, so as soon as we get the handles on these, I'll show you what it's going to look like. At least one of them. She's going to have to get more flowers, but so we're going to finish these up. We're going to get that done. I still have to do the box for the router and the Starlink router up in the apartment. Still a jumble of mess. So we still got lots of projects to do. I'm not going to let all of this other stuff get too much in the way of working in the shop, because this is what I want to be doing. So anyway, without any further ado, let's talk about what we're going to do to put these handles on. So my original thought was to take a couple horseshoes. I showed you guys. We'll take a couple horseshoes, straighten them out, put a couple bends in them, and those will be our handles. That proposed to be a little bit more of a bigger problem. I didn't have my truck, so I couldn't pick up a propane for that. So I couldn't work on them in here. I worked on them with Courtney's Farrier set up in her truck yesterday for a little bit while we were out, because I'm not working, so I went to work with Courtney. And I think I'm going to do that 2 or 3 times a week, just to help her out. We can actually expand her business a little bit with me helping her a couple of times a week. So might as well just do that so we can so we don't feel useless. Anyway, so the problem was I couldn't work on them in the shop. It seems to be a little bit more difficult than I had anticipated. Who would have thought that straightening out a horseshoe was going to be difficult? But it kept on twisting on me. I left the clips on, which I should have grinded off first. It was. I really wanted to learn how to do that before I was doing this. But one of the things about this channel was to show you guys me learning these things. So I will try again in the shop. And then my hands cramped. Oh, did my hands not like that? I'm not used to having to hold tools like that. And I have just new respect for what she does when she's banging on those shoes, getting them shaped to the foot of the horse. Those little tiny tonks, I don't know if I have a pair. Yeah, here. So these are her old ones. But they're just, there's no handle to them, right? And then I think that's one of the reasons, one of the things that they can do to hold them a little bit tighter. It's a little bit more. So if there was handles, their hands would be further out. They'd have less dexterous control over it. But my hands are kind of long and gangly, and so trying to hold on to this tightly while banging on a piece of metal on the other side really cramped up this hand really good. So I think it's just the more I do it, the easier it will be for me in the long run. So either that or it's the type of tongs I'm going to be using for blacksmithing. So that ex-nayed the horseshoe because she wants these boxes done by the end of the month. We only got 6 days left, and I've only done these 2, and I don't want to wait to put the handles on. So what I'm going to do is I've cut these strips of leather. These aren't heavy boxes. They're not. They're very light. So we're going to use leather for these straps here, or for these handles here. And so I've cut these leather straps, 12 inches, and then we're going to bring them in, and then we're just going to screw them down. Now, instead of just screwing straight through the leather, I grabbed this strap, this pipe strapping, or whatever you call it. You guys have probably seen this before. It's got all those big and small holes in it. So I cut a 2-inch piece off of that guy twice, and then I sprayed it with like metallic spray paint, outdoor spray paint. It's still drying a little bit, but that's fine. And we're going to use those. I only have 2 of them. I need 4 of them. Jeez. This is going to have to wait. My brain. So we'll do 1 box for sure right now. And then I'll spray paint another 2 of these before I go and pick up the truck. And then I'll get that one done. So let's just get that together, and then I can show you, and we can go from there. Holy man. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do this one here. We're going to take the strap and oh, look, a fly. Shoo fly, don't bother me. Now, I don't know if it's necessary to pre-drill these holes. I brought the drill just in case, but I don't think it's necessary because they're small screws and it's in the center of the board. So what we're going to do here is we're going to put 1 through each end of the strap at 1 inch from these holes here. So we got the guy here. We're going to measure 1 inch from the center of the hole this way. Right there. Then we're going to take this little strappy guy and put him right on top of it. And we're going to put the screw right through it. So that's a problem. Let's do this measurement again since it moved. Doesn't have to be perfect, but the more I get used to measuring things, the better it will be. So I don't have to make this perfect. I'm just getting used to measuring. I'll bring you and show you the, I guess I still need to use that stuff for the other box, but we're going to end before I show you the other box. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this closer here. I'm going to grab this. I'm going to bring it close. No, I'm going to bring this close to you. So what I'm going to do is, like you can see, so the handle works. It's beautiful. And it moves out of the way of the center, right? So if they want to fill that with flowers too, they can. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to clean up the leather poking out of the brackets there. These brackets are kind of shiny and cool. They have like a little sparkle to them, which is pretty cool. I used this, what was it? Oh, it's right here. I used this metallic soft iron from Behr. It worked out really well. I liked it. So I'm just gonna slightly just try to clean up. I mean, I know this is gonna get beat up. They're gonna leave it in the arena. It's gonna get covered in dirt. The horses are gonna kick it. It's gonna get beaten up. But I wanted to make sure it was as good as I could make it out of the materials that I had and the skills that I had. I wanted to do that first. I mean, if they ask for like a large amount of these types of things, I'll try to make them quicker. I might just use better material so it's faster, because trying to joint and plane all of this pallet wood took a while. I mean, I don't mind doing it. The time isn't the problem that it took to do it, but when there's a time limit on things, that's the problem. The more I think about this, the better I am. The happier I am that I left the sides open at least a little bit, because I realized that if anything ever gets in there, wants to make a nest, we're gonna have to clean it out. And if it was just the holes in the top and it got in there, it'd be even harder. We don't want stagnant water in there ever, so if they were left outside and it rained, it will drain out just fine. We could also put our hands in there to help rearrange whatever decorations we're putting in there. I was hoping that didn't fall. Anyway, this is the end result. So obviously this is not a very high jump, but this is not meant to be a high jump. It's one of those things that they use in hunters, which is a low level type of jumping, but it's a fancy type of jumping. And so the jumps only get to about 3 foot high, I think is the highest, whereas like the world record for show jumping is like 2 meters or something like that, which is like the door of the size of the door. But these are for hunter type things. And so I really liked how the handle actually turned out, even though we had to change the way we were doing it. I really hope it doesn't tear itself out, but we'll see. I mean, I could probably add a couple more smaller screws into it, just so it's not just that center screw. But I think I left it just tight enough that it should be fine. But that's going to be it here for this week. Like I said, just to finish up, I'm going to finish up this box off camera because I don't have time to wait for this to dry and also film something. So we're gonna cut it. We're gonna put the strap on. We're gonna and call it that. So this worked out. Thank you for watching, and hopefully we're back on track next week. Thank you very much.